welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast. For today, we're going over NFL Week 5. Again, make sure you give this video a like, give it a follow over on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, wherever there's social media. There will be the Stats and Stacks podcast. Again, I do apologize for there not being any podcast last week, but we had the birth of baby daughter Liliana, so all is right in the world. Even distracted, we had some very good picks last week. I'm looking to do the same this week. A lot of overs, which I like a lot, which should mean for a fun weekend of football. So, again, we're going to just hop right into this thing here with the very, very first game of the week. Week 5, we have the Indianapolis Colts. I can never say that. The Colts, the Indy Colts going up against the Denver Broncos in Denver. Over-under set at 42. We have Denver as -3.5 favorites, which honestly I agree with, especially with the departure of Jonathan Taylor. I do think that the Broncos cover this game. I think it's going to be close. That half point does give me a little bit of hesitancy, but I'll probably still side with the Broncos on that front. Over under, both these teams are underachieving. I don't really want to touch that. I guess I would lean the over. I would lean the over. If there's not going to be Jonathan Taylor, there's going to be a lot of passing, so that kind of leads to an over. But I want to stay away from it and probably just take the Broncos straight up. Otherwise, on a fantasy perspective, you're not going to start Jonathan Taylor, but Michael Pittman should lose his fucking mind. And of course, I'm personally playing Michael Pittman in a lot of leagues, so it kills me to say that, but I'm playing him in about 3 leagues, and he's probably going to go nuke. On the flip side, it's probably all I'm starting. You can't trust either of the tight ends for the Colts, whether it's going to be a Mo Alley-Cox week, whether it's going to be a Jelani Woods week. You don't know. Alex Pierce has been showing up a little bit. I think he had like 80 yards his last game. So definitely keep a eye out on Alex Pierce, but you're really just going to start Pittman and call it a day. On the flip side, you're going to start Courtland Sutton. He's a great wide receiver this year. Russ... It's weird. You can start Russ if you have to, but especially with Darius Leonard being out, you can start Russ. It just feels gross now, but it is what it is. Javonte Williams being out sucks. So I don't think they fully trust Melvin Gordon. I think that's a trap. I think it's going to be a split between him and Mike Boone. I don't really want to trust either of the running backs either. I'm probably just starting Russ and Courtland Sutton and calling it a day. If you have Jerry Jeudy, you have to start him probably. But Courtland's the only one I actually like on that side, in all honesty. On the flip side, the next game we have listed here, the Pittsburgh Steelers going to get to Buffalo Bills. Over-under set at 46.5 because it's a Bills game. Line is Bills -14. And you're not reading that wrong. They are 2 touchdown favorites. And honestly, they probably cover. It's Kenny Pickett's very first week as an NFL starter going to Buffalo to play the Super Bowl champs. That's pretty tough. I know our secondary is very, very banged up. And I know that generally speaking, people are overrating our defense currently with all the injuries we have. But I don't think the rookie QB is the guy that's going to go in there and destroy us in our house. I don't foresee that happening. So I will take the Bills to cover over under 46. I can see the Bills putting up like at least 35 and then Pittsburgh getting some garbage time. So I don't hate the over 46.5. It's not my favorite, but that's probably the way I would lean. On a fantasy perspective, keep an eye out on Isaiah McKenzie. Pittsburgh is getting absolutely murdered in the slot. Jamison Crowder just went out, so Isaiah McKenzie is pretty much our sole slot. We do have Khalil Shakir, who was getting action last week. I like that kid a lot, but I think it would be predominantly Isaiah McKenzie there. Stephon Diggs is going to go crazy. And honestly, speaking of Khalil Shakir, if Isaiah McKenzie did have a concussion last week, if he doesn't pass concussion protocol, start Khalil. I think it's a sneaky start. It's a great DraftKings and FanDuel play is probably minimum. You're going to start Gabe Davis. He's starting to get a little healthy here. I think you could even start Devin Singletary. Steelers' run defense isn't that good. And obviously you're going to start Josh Allen. On the Steelers side, with where you drafted Najee, you're going to start him, and you should. Deontay, you can start Deontay. He's pretty smooth. Don't start Kenny. You can start Pat Firemouth. You can start Dawson. Now you can start both tight ends here. I don't think either one of them are going to go crazy, but they'll both be serviceable. There's a lot of fantasy pieces in this game, but the picks are going to be the Bills. The bet is going to be probably the Bills just to cover. Then the next game, we have the Green Bay Packers as 8-point favorites over the 3-1 New York Giants. Over under set at 41. You talk about Bills injuries. These Giants are having a lot of issues in their wide receiver room. Richie James screwed over everyone last week. Sterling Shepard out for the year with an ACL. We have Rondell Moore struggling. We have Kadarius Toney struggling. This is just a Saquon. Oh, we have Daniel Jones struggling. Don't know if he's going to play. We don't know if any of their starters are going to play outside of Saquon. So this is the Saquon show. On the flip side, fantasy for Green Bay, it's weird, man. Aaron Jones went off last week. Not went off. He had like 15 fantasy points and like half point. Alan Lazard's pretty decent in all honesty. Don't fall for the Randall Cobb trick that happened last week. Romeo Dobbs, I don't really know what's going on there. Robert Tonyan is pretty touchdown or bust. So the ones I'm really trusting are Lazard and Jones. Obviously, you can start AJ Dillon, but I feel like it's just going to be one of them going off. I never know when it's going to be both. I don't like starting two running backs on the same team. And Rodgers, he should be.
And they'll check them both for free.
Yes.
But all in all, it's not really a big fantasy heavy game. Not one I'm going to be fully invested in, but Saquon and the running backs, and then you can start Lazard, and that's about it. On the flip side, I feel like you can start a lot of people here in this next game. Chargers Browns, I love the over. Absolutely love it. I think it's going to smash. Over under set at 47.5. We have the Chargers as 2.5-point road favorites. I don't know what to think. Honestly, I have no idea what to think. I want to say the Browns are a sneaky dog play. The Chargers are definitely the better team. I just really keep seeing the Browns winning this game, but I do think it's going to be a shootout. So I think the safest bet is just going to be the over. Nick Chubb, start him. Amari Cooper, I think, is going to go off this game. The Charger side, Keenan Allen should be coming back. Mike Williams is a good fantasy option. Austin Eckler finally showed his worth last week. Donald Parham is supposed to come back. Justin Herbert's a stud. There's so many fantasy pieces. I really do think Nick Chubb and basically all the Chargers are going to go off. David Njoku could have a game this week, and I do like Amari, man. He's like I think he's going to be in most of my DK lineups. For whatever reason, I'm really feeling Amari Cooper this week. I think I'm playing him, ironically enough, in like 3 weeks too. So it could be a rough week season long for me, but DK, at least I'll make it worthwhile. So I do like Amari in this matchup. But the pick is going to be the Chargers. The bet would just be the over. I think it crushes. All right, next game, we have the Chicago Bears going up against the Minnesota Vikings at -7. At home makes sense. Over under set at 44. This over under is weird because I don't think the Bears are good. I don't think the Vikings defense is good. So if I had to lean somewhere, even though I think the Bears are putrid, I think it's enough. David Montgomery, I don't think is going to play. I think he's going to sit another week, and it's going to be the Khalil Herbert show. And if that's the case, that's fine. I like Khalil in this matchup if it's solely him. That's about it. I can't start any of their pass catchers. I can't start Justin Fields. I want nothing to do with anyone but Khalil Herbert or David Montgomery, whoever the starter is for the Bears, because the Bears just don't throw the ball. On the flip side, obviously, you're going to start Justin Jefferson, Irv Smith, I don't hate. Adam Thielen in this matchup, I don't necessarily hate. Dalvin Cook, check his injury status. I don't know what's going on there. But if he's playing, I think you start him. Kirk Cousins, good streamer. I want to start everyone on the Vikings. I think the Bears defense is putrid, and I think they're going to go wild. So, start every single person on the Vikings, and I would start just whoever the starting running back is in Chicago. But I will take the Vikings to cover here. I like that better than the over-under. I think the Vikings can cover 7 at home. On the flip side, we have the Detroit Lions as was that say 3? Sorry, my screen is messed up. 3-point underdogs going up against the New England Patriots at home. Over under set at 45.5. I made a promising myself to never bet an under in a Lions game because I think the Lions have a phenomenal offense. I know they're all injured right now, but the offense is still just fine. The defense is ass. They're kind of the new age New Orleans Saints where they have all offense, a lot of offense, no defense, which makes for awesome fantasy players because they always have to score and they always have to keep up. On the flip side, the Patriots have an all right defense. It's not that good, but it's all right, serviceable, and their offense is ass. So at that point, I do think the over hits just because the Lions defense is that bad that they're going to make the Patriots offense look okay and vice versa. Um, when it comes to fantasy, you're going to start Jamal Williams. I don't think DeAndre Swift is going to play, so I think that Jamal Williams is going to go nuclear again. TJ Hawkinson, I don't know if I'm going to start. I know a lot of people are going to chase that game. You can't sit him in season long, but DK and FanDuel, I don't think I'm playing him. I think he's going to be a popular play. I think he's going to be high owned, and I think Belichick is going to do everything he can to stop him. Just like last week, I'm on Josh Reynolds here. I think he's the play. I think he's the one that they're going to leave open, and he's the one that's going to expose the Patriots. So I'm all in on Jamal Williams and Josh Reynolds. And even Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff just finds a way. He's sneakily a top 5 quarterback in fantasy this year, and I think it's just going to keep going. He has to throw. He has to produce because that defense is so bad. For the Patriots, Devontae's been waking up a little bit. He could have a game. I have no problem starting him. I don't know who the quarterback is, whether it's going to be Brian Hoyer, whether it's going to be a miraculous comeback from Mac Jones, or if it's going to be Bailey Zappi. I think it's going to be Zappi, and I think they're just going to run the ball like crazy. So I'm all in on Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris. Damian Harris is someone you just don't really want to start, but always goes off. And I feel like it's going to be a big Stevenson-Harris game, and I think Harris is going to go off more than Stevenson. So the pick, it's a weird one. I don't know what to do with this line at 3. I'll probably end up just taking the over because it's a Lions game. Give me the over 45.5. I'll just keep betting that over until it fails me. Then the next game is another weird one. Over under set at 46.5 between the Saints and the Seahawks. The Saints are 5-point favorites. I don't know if I agree, man. I think I'm going to take the dog shot on the Seahawks here. I don't think the Seahawks are good, but I think the Saints are that bad. I don't think they're that good at all either. So if I get 5 points, if it was 3, I'd have a little more hesitancy, but they have to score. They have to win by at least, more a touchdown or, 5 points. So I will go ahead and I'll take the Seahawks to cover. On a fantasy perspective, or over under 46, I'll take the over because neither team has been really showing out on defense. So I think Lockett and DK and Geno are able to expose the Saints. I think that Kamara coming back. Michael Thomas is probably still going to be out, but Chris Olave and Jameis coming back are going to be able to expose the Seahawks. So as aforementioned, I think you can start DK and Lockett. Rashad Penny, you're going to go ahead and start. He's been having one hell of a year. Geno Smith hasn't looked terrible, in all honesty. If you're in a tough spot, you can stream Geno, and that's about it. On the flip side, the Saints are going to start Alvin Kamara clearly. You're also going to start Chris Olave. I like Chris Olave a lot. And whether it's Jameis or Andy, they both throw to him, and that's probably about it. I'm just starting Kamara and Olave. If you need to start Taysom Hill at tight end, you can. I like it a lot better if Andy's there. If Andy Dalton is running the show, I'm going to start Taysom Hill a little more. I guess with Jameis having back issues, it doesn't matter. So tight end, you can start Taysom Hill. He might have some goal line opportunity. All right. Then the next game, we have the Miami Fluke Dolphins going up against the New York Football Jets. Over under set at 46. Miami are the 3.5-point favorites, and this road favorites. And this is another one where I feel weird about that half point. I might take the road favorites to win, but I think I'm going to prefer the under here. In division game, the Jets aren't that good. They just keep getting a lot of garbage time, but the Dolphins are going to be with Teddy Bridgewater, who, although has a bigger arm than Tua, looked a little weird when he came in. I know he came in cold turkey, so I'll cut him a little slack, but Jalen Waddle looks kind of hurt. Tyreek is just fine, but at the end of the day, I was about to take the Jets, but I think I'd rather just take the under. I think there's going to be a low scoring affair. A lot of yards with no points, a lot of field goals this game. On the Dolphin side, you're going to start Waddle and Hill. Clearly, you have no choice. Running backs, I'm staying away from. Raheem Mozart and Chase Edmonds split time. I have a lot of Chase Edmonds in my leagues, and I'm going crazy. He keeps scoring, but only getting me like 9 fantasy points because that's all he gets is a touchdown, and that's it. So I don't know, man. He's getting lucky with these touchdowns. I don't know if the streak can keep going. So I'm just going to start Waddle, and I'm just going to start Hill on their side. I don't trust Gesicki. He's blocking too much. On the Jet side, start Brees Hall, I guess. Yeah, man, I don't trust these receivers at all. I guess you can start Garrett Wilson. Guess you can start Elijah Moore. I don't really want to trust any of the receivers for the Jets, honestly. I don't want to trust any of the tight ends if Usama is back. If CJ's not there, you can start Tyler Conklin. He's getting a lot of work. Otherwise, I'm just going to start Brees Hall and probably call it a day, in all honesty. Then the next game, we have the Atlanta Falcons going up against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers 8.5-point favorites, over under set at 48. Give me the Bucs here. Bucs. I mean, Tom Brady just owns the Falcons. There's a stat where he's like 10-0 against the Falcons or something, and I think it's going to continue here. 8.5 is a weird number for me, but I think that they're going to be pissed off after losing back-to-back games. And Brady generally wins. He doesn't generally lose 3 games in a row, and like career-wise. So I think he's going to go off, and it's at home in their house. I think they'll be fine. Give me the over. I think the Bucs end up scoring like 40 points. So the Falcons will put up 10 and they'll cover. All in all, the Bucs side, you're going to start Mike Evans. I think he's an absolute stud. You can start Brady. You can start Lenny. That's probably it. With the Julio and Chris Godwin front, I need to see them a little more healthy right now. Their tight ends are irrelevant. So just start Lenny, Brady, and Evans. For the Falcons, Mariota let me down last week. He might do it again here. If you're in a tough spot, you can start Drake London. I know Cordell Patterson being out. I have a league where I have Eli Mitchell and Javonte Williams for my running backs. They're both gone. So I have to start, I think I just start Rashad White in the league. It's pretty ugly. Otherwise, I don't really trust Tyler Algier. I have to start. Sorry, it's him that I have to start in that league. I don't feel good about it. He's going to spend a lot of time with whatever that guy name is, Huntley. Algier looked better. Huntley got all the touchdowns, but Algier looked better. But Tampa's a tough defense to run against, so I don't really want either one of them. So the Falcons, I really don't want any. If you have Kyle Pitts, you have to start him, but he popped up on the injury report. So if Kyle Pitts isn't there and Cordell Patterson isn't there, I think this is going to be the Drake London show, and I think he's going to go off. They're going to lose by a lot, but I think he'll get a lot of yards and garbage time in the interim. And then the next game, we are looking at the Tennessee Titans going up against the Washington Commanders. Over under set at 43.5. That sounds about right. Give me the over there. Tennessee are 2.5-point road favorites. I agree with that. Tennessee is not a good team, but the Commanders, I think, are awful. Tennessee, you're going to start Derrick Henry. Traylon Burks is out, so you're probably going to start Robert Woods, and then you're going to stop getting crazy and leave that alone. For the Commanders, you have to start Terry from where you drafted him. Jahan Dotson's out, so I think Curtis Samuel's going to go off. I know Brian Robinson's back practicing, but he's not going to actually play. So give me Antonio Gibson. So I think you can start, even if you really have to, you can probably start Wentz. You can stream them. And Tannehill, in all honesty. I think these defenses are trash. You know what? I think these defenses are trash. Give me the over 43.5. I think they cover that. I think it's going to be an offensive shootout because their defenses are so bad. Not that their offense are prolific at all. So yeah, I really like Curtis Samuel a lot this week. I think Robert Woods is sneaky, and then obviously you're going to start Derrick Henry, and if you have to, you can start Antonio Gibson here and Terry McLaurin. Then the next game, we have the Houston Texans going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. 7 is too much. I think that's just too much for I know Jacksonville is looking a lot better this year, but they're still not good. Let's not get crazy. So I'm going to take Houston to cover in division, everything. Over under set at 43.5. I'll take the over. I'll take the under. I'll take the under. I don't think I think Jacksonville's defense is pretty good. I think Houston's defense is sneaky good. I mean, I think that the Houston offense is bad. And I think the Jags offense is overrated. You can start Christian Kirk. He's been going off this year. The running backs, I think Jacksonville wins the game, but I don't think they cover 7. So you can start James Robinson. I'm not touching ETN. Zay Jones, if he comes back, he's been kind of secretly killing it in the slot and no one's paying attention. So if he's back, I don't hate him here. That's about it for the Jags. On the Texan side, you start Brandon Cooks and you start Damian Pierce and you call it a day. Don't get fancy with the Texans. They're not good on offense. Leave them the hell alone. Then we have our first 4 o'clock game. We have the San Fran 49ers as road favorite, 6.5 points, going up against Carolina Panthers. On the road, I think that's too many points for San Fran. I'm going to go ahead and take the Panthers to cover, not to win. I think they just cover. Over under set at 39. God, I don't know what to do there. I might take the under. Panthers run the least amount of plays in the league. Then San Fran runs a lot. I'll probably take the under there. But on a fantasy perspective, you're going to start Debo clearly. You're going to start George Kittle. That's about it. If you have to, you can stop. You can start Jeff Wilson and Brandon Ayuk if you have to. On the flip side, you're going to start CMC. You're forced to start DJ Moore. It's probably about it. I don't want to start anything else for Carolina. They have a good wide receiver. They have a good running back, and I think they can just leave it alone. I don't think the Panthers are good, but I feel like they cover at home. But I think it's going to be a very low scoring affair. And then the next game we have the Los Angeles Rams as 5.5 point favorites against the Dallas Cowboys. Over under set at 42.5. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take the under in this one as well. I think the Rams are kind of struggling on offense, in all honesty. But the Cowboys, although Cooper Rush is 4-0, he's not good. Let's not get confused. He is a backup quarterback. He's not good. He's just having a good run right now against, and some of the teams he's playing haven't been playing their best football. It's not that he's winning; it's that these other teams are losing. The Rams need a win desperately, and I don't know, man. I think it's a weird game to call. I don't know about this 5.5. Yeah, I'll take the Rams. I'll take the Rams to cover that. Over under 42. Give me the under. On a fantasy perspective, you're going to start Cooper Kupp clearly. The running backs, I don't want to touch them. I don't want to touch Cam Akers or Darrell Henderson at this point. They need to show me something, and they're both injury prone. So when one of them get hurt, you can start the other one like crazy. But when they're both healthy, I'm not doing it. You can start Tyler Higbee. He's been going off. He's been a little bit of a target machine. RIP to the career of Allen Robinson. So it's really just the Cooper Kupp getting 20 target show and Tyler Higbee getting about 10 targets and catching 8 of them. That's what's going on here. I'm fine with it. Whatever. You know who to start. Cowboy front, CeeDee Lamb, doesn't matter who the quarterback is. He keeps going off. Zeke and Pollard, you're just playing the touchdown game. I don't really want to start either, but for where you drafted them, you might have to. Dalton Schultz gave us a goose last week. I don't think he does it again, but I'm not itching to start him by any means. It's really just CD and the running backs if you drafted them, and that's about it. Then the next game is one I have a weird feeling about. The Eagles at 5. I don't like it. Give me the Cardinals to cover at home. I don't think the Cardinals are good. I think they're a terrible, terrible football team. I think the Eagles are good, but I think they're a little overrated. They're not the best team in the league. I think they're the best team in the NFC currently, but that's a weak division. I'm not trusting it. NFC East is not good. Give me the Cardinals to lose the game but cover 5. Over under set at 49. Give me the over. I think the over can hit here. It's set high for a reason. For a fantasy perspective, you're going to start Kyler. You're going to start Zach Ertz has been going off. You're going to start Marquise Brown. He's doing a good job while D-Hop is out. And that's it. Don't get too cute. If you drafted James Conner, you're going to have to play him, but he has been struggling. On the flip side, the Eagles are going to start A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. Again, I said was going to be the number one QB in the league in fantasy, and so far he's proven it. So you're going to start him. Dallas Goedert, if you have him, you can start him. Miles Sanders is looking great. You're going to start Miles Sanders. And that's about it. Don't get Devontae Smith is starting to come into his own. He's starting to get a lot more targets, I noticed. But I would wait and see one more game before I hop on that bandwagon. Let me just start with A.J. Brown. It looks like it's going to be either a Devontae Smith or a Dallas Goedert, not both game. And A.J. Brown is consistent. So A.J. Brown and Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, call it a day. Then the next game is going to be a shootout. It always is. The Baltimore Ravens is 3-point favorites over the AFC champs, Cincinnati Bengals from last year. Give me I think the Ravens are going to cover. I know. The Bengals, I think, get a whole bunch of points. I'm going to start all of them in fantasy, but the Ravens can't keep blowing these leads, and Lamar's playing for a contract. I think he's going to get the job done. Give me the over more than the Ravens. I like the over even more. I think that's a virtual lock. Between that and the Browns-Chargers games, those are probably the best two overs to hit. When it comes to fantasy, start Lamar. Rashad Bateman coming off an injury. I don't really want to touch it. Mark Andrews, I know he came off like a 2-point performance in fantasy. It's not going to happen again. Mark Andrews is going to go off. J.K. Dobbins looked pretty good coming back. Give me J.K. So I think it's going to be J.K., Lamar, and Andrews. For the Bengals side, damn, that Ravens secondary keeps getting torched. So Jamar Chase, this is the week. If you have Jamar Chase and you're waiting for him to explode, you keep seeing T. Higgins go off, it's Jamar Chase week, baby. He's going to go crazy. T. Higgins might still get his. Tyler Boyd might still get his. This Ravens D is ass. Joe Mixon might get his. Joe Burrow is going to feed all of them. So I love Joe Burrow this week. So Joe Burrow is going to go off, and I think all of his receivers and Joe Mixon all live. And that takes us to the last game of the weekend. We have the Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, going against their nemesis, this Kansas City Chiefs. Over-under set at 51, high over-under. KC 7-point favorites, justifiably so. I think the Raiders are good, but they're not on KC's level right now. I think KC most likely covers this. Did they hit the 51? Probably, but I think they backdoor their way into it. In regards to a fantasy perspective, you're going to start Devontae Adams. You're going to start Josh Jacobs from the way they're doing things. Darren Waller, you're going to start him from where you drafted him, but that's about it. But it's really just a Devontae. Matt Howard's been doing things, so is Hunter Renfrow, but I feel most comfortable with Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams. On the flip side, the Chiefs, you're not going to start any of the receivers. You don't know who's going off each week. This week, I think it's a Juju week, but don't quote me on that. I just feel that. In regards to Travis Kelce, auto start. He is their actual number one receiver. And then the running backs are using a lot of rotation, but CEH is the number one. So you can start Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Obviously, you're going to start Mahomes. But I think you're looking at more or less just you're going to look at Clyde, Travis, and Patrick and call it a day. And that is week 5 of the NFL season for 2022. Again, make sure you give this video a like, a subscribe. Make sure you give a follow over on Instagram, Twitter, over on TikTok. We missed a week, but we're back, baby, and we're back to win money. Let's get it.